Alright, well, we can go ahead and get started. I'm going to try and troubleshoot the stream live as people give me feedback on the quality. So to anybody who's new and tuning in here, my name is Raku, and this is my official debut stream as a VTuber here on YouTube. I've posted a little bit of content up till now, just kind of random videos here or there, but what I've been working on up till now has been planning and getting stuff in place for not only the debut itself, but for everything I'm planning on doing post-debut and content creation going forward. So what I'd like to do for stream purposes here today is go through some background about myself, talk a little bit about me, where I come from, what I am interested in, some hobbies and other types of things like that. I also want to talk a little bit about the type of content I want to create here on YouTube, both from a streaming perspective and also from a YouTube video content creation perspective, since I want to be able to do both. And we will go ahead and go to the slideshow now. And it should be popping up right now. What I'll do is sort of go through the bullet points on the slideshow itself, and as people tuning in have questions or want to ask anything, by all means, feel free to put stuff in chat. I will answer any questions that I can here, and also just for transparency, what I'm planning on doing after the stream is done is I will be editing this off YouTube, probably to condense some of the dead space, and especially if anything really weird happens with the stream. And then I'll be putting it up on YouTube, probably in sections based on the stuff I talk about. Hey, what's up, Yamato Takahari? I don't think I've seen you before. Welcome to the stream. I'm going to try and keep an eye on the chat, keep an eye on my streaming software, and keep an eye on my capture software all at the same time, and hopefully nothing too weird happens. But if we take a look at the slideshow, I will start from the top. Like I mentioned when we started, my name is Raku. You can call me Ra or Raku, it doesn't really matter. I go by both. And about me as a person, or as a life form, I am an alien. I am not from Earth, even though I currently live here. Right now, I'm living in the United States on the West Coast in the Pacific time zone, but I am not originally from this planet. My home planet is very far away, and it doesn't really have a name that's pronounceable in any Earth languages. So for the sake of things here and simplicity, when I refer to my home planet, I'm just going to call it Homeworld. And to step back into the past a little bit about how I got here, I spent a lot of time as a larva on Homeworld, consuming Earth media, way back many years, watching things like Earth television broadcasts, and especially Earth music. As we'll get into a little bit later on in the presentation here, music is a big part of who I am and what I'm about. And as a result, I want to have that integrated in a lot of things I do here as a VTuber on YouTube. But to sort of stick with the slideshow order here, as an alien from Homeworld, I actually came here to this planet in 2001. After many years of consuming Earth media and being fascinated with all the things that humans do, I wanted to learn more. And I wanted to learn more firsthand. So I made the journey far across the reaches of space to come to Earth in 2001. And because everything I learned taught me that Earthlings can be rather paranoid and judgmental, I decided the best thing to do would be to blend in. And as a result, when I got here in 2001, I went through the proper channels to get an Earth certificate and an appropriate human-looking form, which is what you see here. And I decided to go to Earth School. And that was in 2001. And I was in Earth School for quite a few years, just trying to blend in and learn more about its people. Now, some specifics about me. If we move on in the slideshow here, I guess before I get into the next couple specifics, since this is the first time I'm streaming live here on YouTube, I guess I can show off my model. So let me do that here. I will put myself right here on the presentation. And the videos that I've posted so far, I'm up showing from the torso up. So this is what the full model looks like. The character design was drawn and designed by me. The Live 2D, which is the model type that I'm using for this here, the Live 2D model was updated and rigged by an artist named Xiao Jing, and I found this particular artist on Fiverr. In fact, this particular artist had done a Vtuber avatar for a real popular and well-known YouTuber named CDogVA. In fact, I found the artist through one of his videos, and they were real easy to work with. The process was really smooth, and we worked out a lot of the details. This artist basically took my character design and tweaked a few things with it and sort of made it fit into the whole VTuber model a little bit more seamlessly. There were some recommendations I had, things I wanted to sort of update with the design. And then said person also did the complete rigging for the model, which is why I'm able to do all of the movement and stuff. So if I take this, and what I will do is put myself back where I was before. Let's see. I'll stick right here for now. That should be pretty unobtrusive. To show off some of the things that I have programmed on my model here, I have a couple expressions that I can cycle through as I need to. If somebody says something embarrassing, or if I say something embarrassing, I've got blush marks. I have a relaxed expression. I don't really know what you call that. But I guess if I'm relieved, I can always use that one. Okay. Are we still getting some playback issues on the actual stream? Still getting a good connection on the actual interface in YouTube. What I'll do is I'll keep running through the presentation here, and we'll see if things stabilize for the people watching. If nothing else, like I mentioned before towards the earlier part, I'm going to be editing the actual video archive of this stream, one to sort of split up any downtime that we have, but also to make sure everything quality-wise is okay. But I do want to try and make sure I troubleshoot any potential issues with the stream quality itself, since I don't want this to happen every time I I go live in a stream here. Let me jump back to the model here. The expression I was showing off. Let's see. I'll go back to normal here. This one is kind of a happy, drooling face. I don't know how I would use this one, but this is what was included when I got the model done. Then obviously if something really good happens, I've got the hard eyes. And if something terrible happens, this will be my reaction to something really bad, I guess. And probably the most interesting of the different expressions that this model has, and the most relevant for the ones I'll be using here, most likely is this one. This model has headphones, and these are toggleable, and I will primarily be using these whenever I'm doing something music related, be it talking about music or whatnot, or any of the content creation type stuff. Then I'll have the phones on, but I do like that they can be turned on and off with the push of a button. But that'll do it for the model. If we go back to the bio stuff here in the presentation, we talked about race, age. In Earth years, I am 55 years old, and here's the deal with that. When I got here in 2001, I had to go through a pretty rigorous process to get my Earth certificate and be able to live here without drawing too much attention to myself. And for whatever reason, your weird Earth calendar made me 35 when I got here. And I've been here since 2001, and it's 2021. So, according to the age on my Earth certificate, I am 55. But I assure you I am much younger than that. So I don't want people calling me a boomer in the comments, even though they probably will. Next up, height. In Earth measurements, I am 5 foot even. And before people start calling me a manlet for being so short, I will say that I wasn't prepared for the level of gravity that Earth pulls at. As a result, I ended up being shorter when I got my human form. It is what it is. One of my favorite YouTubers has a saying that he repeats every once in a while as a short guy himself, and he always says, "Manlets rise up." So I'm playing the Earth gravity card, but at the very least it means it's really easy for me to ride on public transportation, things like planes. Next up, we talked about birthplace. The symbol on the presentation there is Homeworld's emblem. It's a real simple symbol. It doesn't really have a pronunciation in Earth tongue again. So like I mentioned, towards the beginning, whenever I talk about where I came from, I'll be referring to it as Homeworld. Next up, some hobbies, some things about me, things I'm interested in. My probably biggest interest in general, I would say, would be music. Whether it's things I like to listen to, which again, I have an entire page coming up after this devoted to music and music types. I've been listening to specifically Earth music for a really long time, and it's a really big part of my life. So we'll go jump over to that page once we get through the rest of this stuff, and I'll probably talk at exhausting length about the types of music I like. Also, as is common on the internet and people making content on the internet, I'm a big fan of games, video games specifically. I do play a decent amount of games when I have time. Specifically, my favorite video game series is Monster Hunter. I don't have a way to do game capture for the current title that's out, which is Monster Hunter Rise on Switch. Even though I've been playing that one a lot, I may consider doing some stuff with the PC version next year when it comes out, but I haven't decided yet. I've been playing the Monster Hunter games for a while. It's my favorite series. I'm also a big fan of fighting games. One thing I hope to do as part of the content creation, which we'll get to later, is doing videos on fighting games, either learning or just videos of me playing through and talking about different fighting games I'm into. I think that could be pretty fun. Maybe go online and get destroyed by people in the fighting game community in real time. I do play a decent amount of RPGs too, though I haven't really gotten my hands on any recently. I did play a lot of JRPGs back in the day, and I wouldn't mind picking up another one to play at some point. I just don't know that it would be necessarily the most interesting thing from a content creation perspective. But stuff like the Shin Megami Tensei series, more recently, the Persona games, I'm a big fan of. A lot of the old school retro RPGs from the SNES era, I'm a big fan of. You'll probably hear me using music from a lot of the old Super Nintendo RPGs throughout different content here, assuming I don't get copyright strike from them. But for games, we'll talk a little bit about that in the content creation stuff. Next up, I haven't really talked about it too much here on YouTube other than one video and a little bit on Twitter, but I'm also a big fan of beatboxing. I got into beatboxing 2 years ago and learned via YouTube and the internet. And beatboxing is really, really interesting art form, which ties in pretty well to my love for music. And I'm hoping to keep learning and integrating that into my content creation here on YouTube as well. Next up, a karaoke. I do like to sing. Obviously, because we're still in pandemic mode here and there's no real way to do that, we can't. But before things went sideways and the world changed, I did like going to karaoke places with friends and whatnot and singing. It's pretty fun and a good time. Hopefully, once the world unscrews itself, we'll be able to do that again. Additional hobbies, drawing. I do like to create art, and specifically digital art. I've been drawing concept art and different things for a long time, and so I want to sort of integrate that as well into content creation here, into streaming, and also maybe commentary videos or things for YouTube itself. And then the last interest in the hobby section here would be cooking. I'll probably talk a bit about that more when we get into chatting or story time streams, but a long time ago when I was still in Earth School, my job was a cook, or I was a cook for my job, and that's how I paid my rent. And as a result, I learned quite a bit about cooking, have a lot of funny stories from those times, but it stuck with me through the years, and as a result, I still enjoy cooking now, thankfully not for a paycheck, just for myself. And the way I see it, if you like to eat, you're either going to have to learn how to cook or be prepared to spend a lot of money going out to eat. But that's a pretty basic overview of some of the things that I'm into. To segue into the next section of the bio here, the types of content I want to do as a VTuber here on YouTube will be kind of multifaceted. The intention of becoming a VTuber here is to give myself the avenue to create lots of different kinds of content and experiment with different types of content. So like we see on the list here, gaming streams. I've got a game in mind that I'll probably talk about at a later date that I want to play through on stream live with people. And what I'll probably do is, depending on how those streams turn out, is just leave up the entire stream archive on YouTube once I'm certain that there's no issues with the quality. But I think it'd be pretty fun to have sort of a long form Let's Play type game to go through on stream, and then maybe mix that up with smaller games or things like the fighting game series, which would probably be more one-off or here and there depending. So I'm kicking around ideas for how I want to do the gaming streams, but when I eventually announce the set streaming schedule, which I plan on doing on a weekly basis, probably Sunday of each week after this week, I'll be posting up on Twitter, which if anybody who's new here has never heard of me before, wants to keep track of things that I'm doing, the best way to do that would be to follow me on Twitter, since I will be posting updates and things about content there, announcements and whatnot. So I'm working out a stream schedule template right now, and then once I decide that, I'll be posting it. But when I do so, there'll be basically dedicated streams on different days. What I'm looking at right now is potentially 3 days of streaming here on YouTube a week. And depending on how I want to organize things on a weekly basis, there'll be dedicated types of streams. For example, there'll be a gaming stream 1 day or 2 days, or however many I see fit. If I want to do a drawing stream for art stuff, then that would be designated for one of the days. If I want to do a chatting or sort of a chill stream, where basically I just sit here, talk to the camera, and tell stories about hilarious things that have happened to me over the years, it'll be one of those. If I decide to do a music-related stream, which in sort of going through the list on the bio here, I do want to do music-related streams. And so the way I foresee that playing out, first and foremost, would probably be what I call a jam stream. And that would be basically me sitting here with the mic, either practicing beatboxing stuff, going through drills and basics, and if people in the chat are curious, talking about some of the different techniques and other things related to beatboxing, while also going through freestyle practice and routine practice and everything else. But also, the way I want to sort of integrate that would be also creating music from said streams for content. For those people that are on the stream right now, the background music that you're hearing on the stream right now was actually created by me. It was a real simple sequence of beats that I recorded and then edited together into a loop just to have some sort of ambient noise whenever I'm just talking to people. So I think it'd be pretty fun once we get everything situated and things like the video quality, audio quality are good, would be to do sort of a collaborative music creation process. One thing I had in mind that I wouldn't mind doing on one of the first or second beatboxing jam streams would be creating new background music for the stream itself. And I think it'd be really fun to do that interactively with people on the chat, where, you know, I say something like, here's a set of beats or bass lines that I'm thinking about. You know, how do we want to put this together? And then once I come up with that, then I'll edit everything and record it into a new track to use on stream. And that could be fun. I've got some other things in the background for the beatboxing related stuff that I'm hoping to introduce a little bit later once we get a lot of the stream logistics sort of squared away. But I think jam streams would be fun. I don't know that it's necessarily super common type for VTubers, but it's a type of content I think would be interesting. So I'd like to do probably one of those at least a week, and we'll sort of see how the scheduling plans out. Another type of stream content I want to create here, if you look at the list, would be karaoke streams. And I've been working a lot behind the scenes on some things to get that set up. The biggest hurdle to get over, and I've talked about this on Twitter a little bit, is easily the audio. I think I'm super paranoid, having worked on this stuff for a while, that the audio is never good enough for anything that I make, which is why you'll see me very frequently on streams doing a pulse check with the people that are tuned in to make sure everything I'm saying is coming through clean, there's no distortion or any feedback from my microphone. And I think once a lot of that stuff has been ironed out and things are smooth, one thing I'd like to introduce would be every so often karaoke streams for singing. That could be fun, since again we can't go to public establishments to do that now because we're in pandemic mode. But that could be fun. That's to be determined right now, though, since things are still in the early stages. We'll see how it plays out. Next up, on the types of content I want to create here, be it streams or videos, media sharing I think could be fun. Whether it's silly meme videos, random stuff on the internet, or things like songs or music videos that I think are neat or something I want to share with people that are tuning in, doing a sort of structured media sharing stream I think could be fun. The only real thing that I'm wary of when doing that would be DMCA and copyright striking and claims with stuff. That may be sort of a trial and error thing. If anything, I may have to do unarchived streams of media sharing stuff if I feel like whatever we're watching or listening to is going to get a big flag on my channel. But the idea of sharing stuff with people tuning in, I think could be fun. There's definitely a lot of content from the music or video or even the beatboxing type stuff. Getting people kind of introduced into that community could be fun. And finally, for potential content types here on YouTube, we have collabs. I am definitely not new to VTubers overall. In fact, getting really into VTubers is what made me want to become one myself. But I don't know any other VTubers personally. I know of a lot of content creators out there and people I follow, like the really big ones that everybody knows. But I don't know any actual VTubers personally. And because we're all out here living on the internet, I think it could be pretty fun to get to know other people out there that are creating content and do collaborative videos. And sort of as I start rolling on through getting consistent streaming schedule and creating content for YouTube, I'm hoping to reach out and engage with other people that are on the platform, and maybe we can get some collabs going and make some friends. Since, again, a big driving factor would be not being able to make friends outside of the internet due to ongoing pandemic shenanigans. But we'll see. I'm very open to the idea of collabs. Okay. All right. So stream quality is looking good on your computer then. Both audio and video are stable on the broadcast. Okay. Well, that's good. Let me know if anything on the broadcast starts getting wonky or if the quality dips abruptly. I'm assuming most people, well, actually, I have no idea how people are going to be tuning into something like this, but I'd be interested to hear if there's a difference in stream quality depending on there are people using mobile devices or if they're using something like a home computer or a wired internet connection. But going back to the presentation here, I think that'll do it for this first page. But before we jump into the music page, which I'll probably be rambling on about for a while, I did want to point out something that I didn't mention at the beginning. The symbol that you see on my main splash page, and it's also in the lower right corner of my YouTube videos, is this red character that looks kind of like a musical note. That is my mascot, and his name is Tenpo. And he may look like a musical note, or I think it's an automaton is the musical instrument they're called. But he's actually a type of life form that we have on Homeworld that functions like a domesticated pet. And I wanted to choose something for my mascot here that would be, one, something familiar, but also something that would be kind of reflective of the type of stuff they want to do here. And the fact that tempo looks like a music note just seemed to fit perfectly with the overall vibe and type of content stuff I want to do here. So you'll see tempo on all the stuff that I work on. He's on my shirt here as a logo and as a watermark or background thing on the presentation itself. So I just wanted to mention that, since I figured people would probably ask why that thing shows up everywhere.